Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for lending me some time. This morning, I want to just take a few minutes to talk about our Net Promoter Score here at Oakbrook, and hopefully provide us with a couple opportunities as we move forward to try and keep that score where it needs to be. If you have any questions while I'm speaking, go ahead and hold them till the end. I will provide some opportunity to answer questions. You do have a handout there. If you could just take a look at that when I point you in that direction, that would be wonderful. So, the Net Promoter Score. How likely are you to recommend South Carolina Federal Credit Union to your friends and family? This question has resonated in my mind and most of our minds for the last several months. Unfortunately, sometimes I take it home with me. I think about it while I'm going to bed. We talk about it every morning while we're here at the branch. And for a long time, it was just part of our day and everything was going real well with our Net Promoter Score. In about November, we started to notice a little bit of a decline with our Net Promoter Score, and we fell below our goal. And so, in an effort to try and turn that momentum around, I wanted to take that problem and apply it to what's called an obtain process. This is spelled out by Mr. Antonio Weiss in his book, Key Business Solutions. And it takes the problem and it runs us through 6 different items. Outline the question, break down the issues, test the hypothesis, analyze the problem, imagine a solution, and then notify the stakeholders. So that's what we've done, is taken this question and this problem that we've had at Oakbrook and applied it to this process. The first step is to outline the question. It's important to understand exactly what the problem is that we're trying to solve. I think a lot of us banged our heads a lot in the beginning because we weren't really sure what the real problem was. We just knew our score wasn't going in the right direction. And so we looked at everything from, hey, change the survey, get rid of the survey, change the questions are dumb. You know, there was a wide array of things that we didn't even know what we were trying to solve. We just wanted that score to get up. So a big part was to actually outline the real problem that we were trying to deal with. Because it creates an actionable goal, gives us somewhere to go. It also creates defined direction. So we know where we're going and we know how we can get there. So the question that has to be answered is, how can the Oakbrook Financial Center increase their current Net Promoter Score to 72%? And so this was the problem that we aimed to solve during this process. Now, this glass is going to kind of represent the problem as it stands when we started. It's muddy, it's ugly, it's clouded. We don't really know what we're dealing with here. As we work through our process, we kind of get to bring a little clarity to the picture, and you see that it's lightening up a little bit. So we've got a little bit of direction that we have going on. The next thing we had to do is break down the issues. And the way that we did this was through an issue tree. They say the easiest way to eat an elephant is what? One bite at a time. So breaking down the issues allows us to tackle this problem one manageable step at a time. Versus looking at this big issue and saying, oh my gosh, how are we going to handle it? By breaking it down, we have an opportunity to see all the bits and pieces of the problem and how we can then address it. So if you all want to look in your book, the issue tree is on page 1. The benefit, again, is that it just gives us some more clarity on what we're trying to solve. It's broken down into 4 separate questions. And they're stated as questions because that allows us to try and answer them. And if we can answer the questions individually versus having overlapping answers to all the multiple questions, we know that we're dealing with issues that can be managed versus the same question being answered in a million different ways. So we asked, hey, can we solve this problem with additional training? Can we solve it with enhanced member engagement? How about daily updates? And then also increased member participation. So these were the 4 things that we applied to this issue tree. And they met those standards. So these were options for us as we move forward in the process. Again, we added a little bit more to our problem that was once so very clouded and ugly. After this, we had to test the hypothesis. So anytime we run into a problem as human beings, we bring with us some ideas on how to solve that problem. Whether it be traffic being backed up, you know, we're thinking, well, there must have been an accident, maybe there's some construction, maybe it's just that time of day. So into this problem, we also brought some of our own hypotheses or some of our own ideas of how to solve the problem. Now, we again created a hypothesis tree. And we actually created 3 of them. So if you could turn the page, you'll see on the next 2 pages, we have a couple hypothesis trees there. What they are doing is trying to verify the validity of the hypothesis that we're presenting. So, for example, the first one was, will the NPS increase if we have additional training? So you'll see that what additional training means for the process and how it benefits the problem that we're trying to solve. And so the other was, if we create a standard script, will this solve our problem? If everybody says the same thing to every individual, will we be better? Will our score get better? Or what if we just improve our service? This was real frustrating for most of us because many of our members were very happy with our service, and yet our score continued to decline. So, but they are valid options as we look at trying to solve this problem. After that, I set out to analyze the problem. And this was done through research. So we're not the only organization that utilizes the Net Promoter Score model. It is used widely across many industries. And so I really wanted to see, are there other people who are doing things that are allowing them to maintain a high Net Promoter Score? And if they are, what exactly are they doing? Is there something different than what we've already talked about, what we've already proposed? And so the 2 questions I was really looking to answer is, why are scores low? What is happening? And then the other is, how can they be increased? So as more information was gathered, we started to realize that, hey, there might be something that we can actually do to improve our Net Promoter Score. It might not just be bum luck. There might be some things we can actually do. 3 things emerged as consistent through those who were successful. Training, open discussion with customers, in our case membership, and their service. These 3 things were present in every organization that had positive Net Promoter Scores day in and day out. Now we had to imagine the solution, and this was kind of the fun part, because there are 3 steps in trying to figure out, okay, we've got all this information, we have all these potential options. What are the best ones? How are we going to find out what is best to do? So this started with a brainstorming session, which all of you participated in. You didn't realize that you did. And this was every idea that we ever talked about when it came to our Net Promoter Score, including some ones that I thought of on my own. And it ranged from everything from shut it down, it's not working, to don't do anything. We just have to live with what the results are. And all of these were then collected. Nothing was left. We had about 20 ideas that ultimately were formed here. The next step is if you could turn your page in your book, there's a grid analysis there that I want to talk to you a little bit about. Some of them were similar, so I put like ones together, and we applied them to this grid analysis. And what this did was it took these 20 ideas that we once had, and they were measured against certain criteria that I established that I thought would be good options for us as far as how to decide what to do. And each of them were given a certain weight, and it ultimately provided a score. You'll see at the bottom there were 2 options that provided the highest score based on the criteria involved. On the last page in your book, I then applied those options to another analysis test. Would they stand up? Were there missing pieces there? Was there something we were missing with these 2 ideas, or were they going to stand the test of time? And it looks through the obtain process that they are doing pretty good, and they are really helping us to bring a lot more clarity to our situation. Now we want to talk about what those 2 ideas are. The first is we need to personalize member interaction each and every time. This allows this member who's in front of us to know that they're valued. It allows them to react to us. It allows us to react to them, and not go in with a set, hey, this is what I'm going to say no matter what, but say, hey, we know this member is going to give us a great score. Let's make sure they know that they're getting a survey. We know that this person's upset. Let's move them to management. Each interaction has to be individually suited for that person, without neglecting the idea that we have this Net Promoter Score that we're trying to get up. The second one is to maintain the highest level of customer service with our membership. If we can, no matter how they feel about a loan that was not approved months ago, no matter how they feel about a fee, if they receive a high enough service level within our branch, they will be compelled to let us know about it. Unfortunately, your average person wants to report negative information much more than they want to promote positive information, so it's very important for us to make sure that we are providing excellent service. After we ran it all through, everything is looking good. We have two options that will really provide us a good way to move forward with our Net Promoter Score. What was once a dirty, ugly problem has now been clarified because of the process that we went through. And I think that in the future we will be able to see the Oakbrook Financial Center maintaining an NPS score of at least 72%. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you so much for your time. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.